Hello everyone, welcome to Lighthouse Stamping with Lorraine. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Vancouver, Washington. Thank you for joining me on this Friday. We are going to be doing a 3-day project today, but before I get started, you will find all the product I used and all the dimensions below. You will also find a link to my online store. If you need a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would love to assist you. You will also find my email address and a link to my Facebook group, which we'd love to have you join. Also remember to like, subscribe, and share this video. I am still trying to get this channel to grow on YouTube, and all of your support is greatly appreciated. Finally, if you live in the Vancouver, Portland area, please drop me an email to my email address. We have some live events that are going to be happening locally with Stampin' Up! And if you're interested, I would like to be able to get that information to you. We will not be announcing it live on YouTube. So, with all that being said, let me show you what we're going to be making. We are using the Merriest Moment stamp set today, and I'm going to show you what we are making. Oh, before I get any further, we are being joined today by my kittens, and everybody said they haven't seen the other one. This is my other kitten, Shasta. I don't know if she's not going to sit and be still, but they're rather cute. I'll show her, try to show your face. She's cute. But they're in the room today because they woke up with their naps and they were meowing when I was setting up. So that is Shasta. So if you hear anything banging, that means they're in the paper stacks again. So now on with the project. This is what we're making today. This is an explosion box. It's really beautiful. Now I'm going to show you what I've put in mine, but you can put anything into this box you want. We will open it up, and it opens up this way. And this is the front of the box. You can put designs on all the panels, whichever you choose. And I've made little cradles, and I'm going to show you how I make those. And I have a nail polish and a lip balm in each of these. So, and they fold up back like this. Just like this. And then the lid goes back on. And this is what we're making. So I would suggest I think in this video is going to last probably 50 minutes, maybe a little longer. So grab something cool to drink or hot, depending on your weather, where you're at, and sit back and enjoy. I've done some of it ahead of time just to speed things up, some of the embossing, but not all of it. And I will walk you through the whole project. So here we go. Let me set that off to the side. So to get things started, we're going to go ahead and score all of our sheets. Now, first thing, you will need a 12 by 12. This is real red. And you will actually need 2 full sheets of cardstock because you can't get both of these out. So it does take a little bit of paper. So let me get my instructions and my glasses so I don't misscore anything. Scoring on the big one's quite easy. Sorry, I'm chuckling. They're making me laugh. So anyhow, we are going to score on all 4 sides at 4 inches. I actually was going to try to make a smaller box for this that used 8.5 by 11, and I will show you that one in a later date. But my nail polish was too tall, so I had to go with the 4-inch. Oh, overall dimensions, 4 by 4 by 4. So it's a nice size box. So that's the scoring on this. You can see it. It's just, so you have 9 things. We'll set that aside. Then for the base, and what I'm referring to the base is the piece that's inside where we're building the cradle. This piece is 9 1/4 by 5 inches. And on the 9 1/4 side, we're going to score at 3/4 of an inch, 4 1/4, 5, and 8.5. Then we're going to turn it, and we are going to score it at 3/4 of an inch and at 4 1/4, or you could just flip it around and score it this way. But I'll put both measurements in there so you can have that. So that's the base, okay? The next is the lid. Now, when I've made lids in the before, I'm going to move this down a little bit. When I made lids more, I've told you to move it out so they fit. This lid, you do not have to move out. The dimensions are built in to fit this box, okay? So this one's a little bit different. And this piece of paper is 7 3/4 by 7 3/4. And you're going to score on all 4 sides at 3 1/4 and 1 3/4. So the scoring is quite easy on this. And you'll say, but that doesn't work out right if you do the math. And that's because I've allowed into this the extra space you need for all the different thicknesses of paper. So just even scooting it out would not have been enough. So I've actually designed this one to fit over my box. And it's not my first attempt, and I'm not sure what I did with the other one. Somewhere around here is the box lid I first made that does not fit. But I'll make a bottom that does fit it, and then we'll use it that way. So that's the scoring. So, and I'm not going to rush through this. I'm going to go through this slowly and try to explain it really easily. So I'm going to go ahead and furnish all of my score lines on all of the pieces first. And then we'll start building each of the sections. This is a big, wow, you know, you could build a cradle of any size, and I'm going to show you the dies I use, but you can use all different kinds of dies in this to make the cradle. So there's that all scored. And this is the base. I call it the base because that's where everything, or cradle, that is where everything sits and doesn't roll around. Sorry, I have to see where these guys are occasionally. They're 11 weeks old and they get into everything. So we got that one scored, and then this one, the last one. So we're going to build this part first. Actually, we're going to build the base first. The reason we're building the base first, or at least part of the base, is because a section of this base has to dry before we can die cut it. I'll show you what I mean. So let's do the trimming on the base first. Get my snips. Okay. Everything is equal here. The sides are both the same at this point. So we're going to cut up on all of these. And I know I always go through and wedge at the same time, but this one I'm doing it this way, and I'm going to show you why. Because you have to decide what is going to be the top of this base and what is going to be the bottom. And so if I messed up on any of the things, I could choose. So I'm going to make this be the base. So this is going to be the front piece. So we're going to remove this tab here, which means this is the piece we're going to be putting our DSP on. And then these other ones, I'm just going to wedge in like I normally just take a small wedge, like you normally would to put a box together to make sure, because it is essentially a little box inside of the box. But we can't put this together yet because we have to glue a piece on and we have to die cut it, and then we can put it together. And you can tell from the size of this, we will be using the large die cutting machine. If you do have punches, circle punches, if you have circle punches, you could use circle punches instead of dies. But since we don't really have that many circle punches, or any now, I've decided not to. So this is the top of our cradle. So when it folds, it will be like this. So the piece where you cut the two pieces off, that's the cradle. So what we need out of here, I have several packets of paper. And what I need out of here is I cut a piece, the Glimmer paper and the white, are for later on. I actually, when I cut this, I wrote a little note on it and said base. And this base measures 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. And this is all of the Boughs of Holly paper that I'm using on this project. And you just put it in. This is non-directional, and that's why I'm using a non-directional paper. But what I want to take and glue this on, so the glue has a chance to dry before we die cut it. So I want to make sure it is good and covered. Whoop, and dropping it. And it centers, and there is a 1/4 inch margin on it, just like a card would have. And we're going to set that aside and let it dry, so that we can die cut that in a bit. Now we're going to come back to this one. The lid we'll be doing last. So what I've die cut in here is I have cut, this is the inside. You see all the folding lines. Now we have to do one other thing. We have to do diagonal score lines in here. Now you can do this 2 ways. I'm going to show you both ways. One, you can use your scoreboard, and I'll show you that. This is why I have the big red line in the middle of mine on an. You can do this if you line it up, but you have to sort of feel around and you can't see the other end. So you can, if you want to be gutsy, and do it and make sure you get it lined up. I'm not that gutsy. So I prefer to use this method. Whoa, how did you get... The kittens are trying to figure out how to climb up on the desk. So I'm going to grab my score tool, and I'm going to grab a steel ruler. Could you excuse me just for one moment? The kittens have gotten someplace they should not be. And if they don't stay down, they're going to get locked out of the room. They are learning to climb on everything. They were napping until about 5 minutes before I decided to film this video. So I'm lining up this mark here, get my head out of here, to this one. And I'm going back and forth just a couple times like that. And do this one. You're going to do this on all 4 corners. Yeah, no, I have a cabinet where I have a lot of my embellishments, small containers with embellishments, and that's where they climbed up to. And that's the last place I need is embellishments all over my floor in my office, which happens to be wood, so it would go everywhere. That's right, play with the pine cones. I have a basket of pine cones in here. Oh, I love them dearly, but they're a lot of work. Okay, so we do need to burnish these before we go any further. So if you just gently fold, I'm just gently pushing and make sure you go clear to the corner. So fold this one down and then push this one down. And then give that a really good burnish. And then the next one. And you can just need to be patient with the paper. Show the paper who's boss, but be patient with it, and it will go where you want it. Sometimes you have to get in here with your bone folder and help show it the way. And the last one. Like that, and this one. Like I said, just take your bone fold. If it's not folding, you see what I'm doing here? It wanted to buckle right there. So just take your bone folder and get right into that crease. So there is our box. So we're going to decorate the outside first. So we're going to flip it over and flatten all that out again. So I have cut several pieces of DSP, and this is out of the same, and this is there's 2 poinsettias. One's bigger poinsettias. This is the smaller ones that are more clustered together. And I have cut 7 of these. 4 are for the outside, and 3 are for the inside. And then these are for the inside as well. Excuse me, they found a screw loose. Do not know where the screw came from or what it goes to, but they have managed to find one. It's amazing. You get kittens, you find things you didn't even know were hidden in your house. Sorry about that, everyone. But I either let them in or they sit out inside and just cry like there's no tomorrow, which will give me an instant headache. So we're going to glue all these on, and like I said, this is non-directional, so it works great. If you do use a directional paper, then you really need to think about how this is going to look when it's closed. I would recommend non-direct. Actually, I actually thought about using the back side of this, but I like the poinsettias. And like I said, turn the paper and everything to make it easier for you. But this is a big wow present. I mean, it can be. This one's not. But, you know, this is a nice present. You know, if you want to give something, a piece of jewelry or something. You know, any cosmetics, perfume. You know, nice bottle of Chanel No. 5. Happens to be one of my favorites. But anyhow, so that's the back, that's the front of the box that we're going to. Now the front corners we don't do anything with because you really don't see them hardly that much. You could if you wanted to, but I didn't. So on the inside of this, we are going to have 3 more pieces here and here. Putting all the pieces we can together until we're ready to do the stamping. So I'm trying to save as much of the stamping all at one time. And it's just easier. This goes together pretty quickly once you get all the pieces cut out. Yeah, like I said, I have another box that I had already designed previously using 8.5 inch paper. And I will be doing that one. I'll probably try to do that one. I may actually try to do it in a week or so. So, anyhow, so there's that. Now, these are going to go in the corners, but they wouldn't look too good if we don't do something with them. So what we're going to do is we are going to set this aside. I'm going to set my glue aside. And I'll grab my trimmer. Get that up there, and I'm going to move it this way because I want to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to be cutting down at this end of the trimmer, and like it says, it's non-directional, but I want to keep the paper together each piece, and this is why I didn't pre-cut it. I could have hooked it together. So I'm going to bring this down, put the points in the track. There's one piece together. I'm just setting them off to the side so that they stay together. Why don't you two go take a nap? I brought your blanket in. We couldn't be that lucky, could we? No. Oh, someone's in my chair with me now. Hello, Shasta. Luckily, this is a nice big chair. She just jumped in behind me and curled up. So anyhow, we have those 4 there. No, no, no. You cannot go into the big shot. You'll get hurt. She just tried to walk on top of the big shot. Oh, dear. Yeah, I brought in there. I have an old sweat jacket. The zipper's busted on it, but I had been wearing it. And I actually had it on the day I went and picked these guys up. And they sort of become attached to it. So I take it into wherever I'm at, and they just usually curl up and go to sleep. But since they just woke up from a nap, they're not going to. So anyhow, just putting glue on. Now, the borders may look a little smaller on this, but that's okay. I think this bottle, and make sure you get a little bit, drag it out into the corners a little bit, so you make sure your corners don't come up. Okay? But you see why I wanted to make sure the pieces that were cut apart stayed this way, because it carries the picture through. And we'll do the next one. So, how is everybody ready for Christmas? I'm not. I'm still short Christmas cards, I discovered. Tomorrow I'm planning on making fudge, so I'll get that done in the morning, and then I think I will get one of my sisters in here to help me make some Christmas cards. They're from her too. She doesn't craft that much, but she will help me when I ask. Oh dear. They've now found the sewing machine. I have a drop-down sewing machine with a case. And they've discovered that the sewing machine, they can crawl up in there. I know. Are you all bored watching Lori put pieces of paper on? And the last one. And then we'll be ready to do some die cutting. I'm actually waiting for the first cat to pop up on my desk here by themselves. So there's all the pieces. So we'll let those sit and dry for a minute, and we'll get the big shot out. So I'm just gonna set those off to the side. And there's the front and the back inside. So now it's time to work on the die cutting. So what we're gonna use, let me grab a sip to drink here. We're gonna use the layering circles. And this is the one I'm actually going to use. It turned out that this size worked. This is this one here. But, you know, if you've got other stuff, you know, you can look and see, you know, whatever you're wanting to do. So if you had a bottle of perfume, you could use the rectangle dies or the hexagon dies. You know, whatever you were trying to fit in here, you could make a cradle out of only any die you have, or punch. But this is the one we're going to use. And I've said this before, I have a piece of white paper in here. It has nothing to do with the machine. My plate is so old that it sometimes leaves black marks on stuff. So that's why it's in there. So anyways, we're going to put that there. And I'm going to stick this in here first. And I have to get 2 of these circles on here. So I have to sort of look at where I'm at to make sure want them away from the side, but I want to make sure that I have enough space in the middle here too. So right about there is where I want the first one. There's no right or wrong to this. It's whatever die you choose to use. I just happened to look around and this is the one that fit mine really well. Oh, I guess I'm going left-handed today. And no, I didn't need to roll it back, but I'm being lazy. I didn't want, this is a magnetic plate underneath. I still put this in there because I did not want it shifting. So here's the first one out. And like I said, just by using my finger, I spaced it. So make sure I had enough room. And the second one. Like I said, so if you had some punches, you could stick the punch. You should have enough space to stick the punch. If you had steep enough throat there on it. And there's the last one. And those are so cute. I'll probably try to find something to use those for. The last ones that came out of the last one, unfortunately, did not. I'm going to throw this in my bowl here for now so I don't lose it. Didn't make it very far. The kittens got a hold of them. And my sister said, "What do they have?" And I said, "Oh, dear." They have the old souls. So there's that. So let's put this part together. This part goes together really easy. And you can use tear and tape. You could use whatever you want on this. I'm a glue person. So what we're going to do, this is like putting a regular box together. We're going to put the base together first. Like that. And you could do all four if you're brave, but you guys know I'm not brave. I always make a mess if I do all four. You want to make sure you have nice 90-degree angles on this. And then we'll do this one. I keep expecting this glue bottle to die on me at any moment, but it hasn't yet. And this last one here. So like I said, we're just putting like a little box together. So there we have, the little tabs are all in like this. Then this comes over like this, and these all glue in this way. So then it looks like this. I'm being brave. I'm pushing one side down when I do this one. Push this one down. And then the last one. Okay, now I'm going to let this sit and dry before we mount it into the center of this, because I want to have the other square that we have not put anything on, which is the front of my box, and it's also going to have the sentiment on it done first. So we're going to set this aside, and we're going to do some stamping. So I cut a piece of white paper for that. And this piece of paper is 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. And what I want to do is I'm going to do some embossing on this, but I also going to do some regular stamping. So I want to put my verse right about here. So I want to make sure I'm keeping this handy so I know what size it is. So I'm going to use some Real Red, and some Mossy Meadow, and I'm going to put, to make sure I got that good and neat, and I'm going to put a poinsettia down here in the bottom. And then I've grabbed the other poinsettia and twisted so it's like that. So that's the poinsettia. Here is our berries, but we're going to save those for a bit. And then we're going to grab I was trying to remember, yeah, maybe it was Mossy Meadow I used. So I'm going to put them in this way. So I have one that like that, and this is the medium size. Just joining up the beginnings of them there. And this one's going to go a little off, but that's okay. Just like that. And then I want to take, and I need to grab my cleaner real quick because I want the medium one clean. Don't need that one cleaned because I want to close the Mossy Meadow and the Real Red. And I want to grab some Old Olive. There's a smaller our holly leaf there. And I just want just a little off to the side there. Grab the littlest one and put it up here in the corner. Just like that. So this piece you could decorate anything you wanted. If you didn't want to put a verse or anything on the inside, you could just put another piece of paper. So now we're ready to do our embossing. So I'm going to grab a piece of scratch paper here. I'm going to grab my verse and my berries, and my verse mark. I'm just gathering everything up. My gold embossing powder and my heat gun and my embossing bud. So I'm going to put some here, some there, and then right in the center here. Just giving it a little bit. So I'm going to stamp my verse first. And put that right almost in the middle. Ooh. Okay. If you guys can't see what I just did, I just dropped that and I've got a little bit of Versamark right here. So I'm wiping that Versamark off, which it should be fine. And then I need some Versamark here for the berries on there, and I'm gonna use the berries in gold for the center. And this is my gold embossing powder. Which I need to buy some more. I'm using a lot of it this season. Okay. Okay, now you can see where I have a mess. You see where the mess is? So just take I have a paintbrush. I don't care if there's a little bit on the flowers. That's fine. I just don't want it. That should be good. We'll know in a few minutes if I have to redo it. I'm hoping not. And the reason I put the piece of paper underneath this still, even using a tub, you do get some powder. This powder's out, so. And I don't have all of mine in tubs, but that one is. And get my heat gun going here. And I'm going to purposely stay away from this spot. There we go. Oh, don't go near that, you'll get burnt. Sorry, I have to unplug my heat gun and move it so the kittens can't burn themselves. I don't have any place else to set it on except on the floor in here. And so I've got a little bit down in here. If you can see it, it's on the flowers and a little bit on here, but I don't mind that. And I managed to keep that out of there. And I'll just take a little eraser, one of my little white erasers, and try to get rid of that. But I'm not that concerned with that on this one. If you really wanted it perfect, then you'd redo it. So, but I'm not going to. So we're gonna glue this one down. Now, since we've heated, embossed this, it's all warpied. Warpied, that's such a technical term, isn't it? So I'm going to use tear and tape on this piece because it will just help hold it. I mean, the glue will do it, but you have to hold it for so long. And the tear and tape just sort of holds it down better after it's been heated. And for time's sake, I'm doing it this way because the last one I had to hold for about 5 minutes, and I didn't want to wait that much time here. Boy, sticky. Now I'm stuck to the tape. Center. Now this, you're going to put in here. You know, it's either way you want it. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to actually put mine like this, I think. Now you could use tear and tape, but if you're putting something heavy like a bottle like I am, I personally think glue might work better, but you give it a try. Seal Plus might work. You need something strong. Do not use regular seal. It will not work. I can tell you that much. It will not be strong enough to hold that. A lot of glue. And we're going to put that right in the center here. And this is just slightly smaller than these squares. I'm going to hold this for a second here. Now I'm going to go ahead and just set these in here. That will help hold it down. I'm going to set this whole thing off to the side for a moment so we can start working on the lid. So back to the lid we scored a while ago and burnished. And if I move a few things, I will be able to find all the pieces I need. Grab myself a drink here real fast. I can't believe it. It's 3:30 in the afternoon when I'm filming this. And it is almost pitch black outside. It's like 36 degrees. It's craziness. So anyhow, back to my craziness. There is 4 squares. And you've seen me do a reinforced box before. This one is reinforced. So there's 4 squares. I'll grab a pencil. We're going to be removing those outer 3 squares, and we're going to be just slightly wedging in on these 2 here, and then making a little wedge here and a little wedge here. So you see my crazy drawings. I have 4 corners, so you'll get to see them. So we're going to cut straight up to the second score line, and up to the second score line, and then you can cut just across, but I'm going to go ahead and wedge it. You're going to take this one off and wedge this one, and then just a small little wedge here on each side of this, like that. So it looks like this, and then rotate it around, and I'm just going to go around the circle. Sorry, I hear somebody chewing on something. One's laying down. Maybe if one lays down, they'll both lay down. So you see, I wedged that at the same time as I went through it. I am sorry about having the kittens in here, but I try to film as much as I can when they're sleeping, but their sleeping patterns are quite irregular. So we got that one, and rotate this around. Got that one there. Just slide all that off to the side. And I do need an eraser real quick, so bear with me. And of course, when I need an eraser, there's not one on my Lazy Susan. So bear with me for just one moment. I'll worry about coming back. I was going to erase this here, the little bit of, but I'll erase that little piece when I'm done. So I like to put my DSP on first. You don't have to. It's your call. So this is the red Glimmer paper. And this one is, this is 4 by 4 inches. And that's going to go in the center. Shh, they're both laying down. They've terrorized my craft room enough. So, put that right there. Now, there's 4 pieces for the sides, and they are 4 inches by 3 1/4. That goes next to this one here. So everybody let me know if you want to see the smaller box too. I do have, like I said, I designed a smaller box. It's one I've made for years, but yeah, this one was about 1 inch too tall with the nail polish I picked out, and didn't think about measuring the nail polish when I bought it. I was looking for colors. I wasn't looking for, I wanted a nice pink. I wasn't looking at the size of the bottle. So we got that there. And then we're going to use some tear and tape. And I'm going to put I flip it over. And I'm going to put 2 strips of tear and tape on each of these tabs. Okay. Now we're going to glue these in. And we're going back and get nice 90-degree angles on this. Boy, I got a lot of stuff. I've been crafting all day. My fingers and hands are a mess. Just give that a second to hold. You always wonder with animals, you know, and kids, same thing. It's like, it's too quiet to be true. I got to go take a look here. Well, at least they're both on the jacket, being quiet. So now we're going to go ahead and peel off. And I'm just going to peel and stick. I'm not going to worry about it. And then we're going to go back and burnish that after I get all 4 down. This is a nice sturdy box. So I said it can hold quite a bit. And if you didn't want to put the base in it, you didn't have to. You could put all kinds of scarves and all kinds of stuff in the bottom without the base. But if you want to do cosmetics or something, then I'm just going to take my bone folder and give that a nice rub. Make sure everybody's stuck down good. Like that. All right, let me get a little bit of this out of my way. I've got a lot of debris here all of a sudden. Before I get the next part out. And we are just about done. We are on the home stretch. I went ahead and made all the parts for the top, and I'm going to explain what I did. Made us a nice bow. This is out of the glittered organdy ribbon. That's going to go on our box. And then I made, and I put 2 of these together. These are the same poinsettias we used inside. I did them all in gold and then hooked them together. I have 1 more to hook together here. And I'm using glue dots to do that. Move my little... The reason I have this on here, if anybody wonders, this is just so my glue dots don't go flying all over the place. So I'm putting 1 glue dot in the center of that poinsettia. And then I'm sort of putting that one in the middle. And then I'm going to put this one in here. In the center. And the reason I'm using this is because glue dots are great, especially when you got embossing. So I want these to stand up. Now these I'm laying in there flat. We have 3 of these in Old Olive and 3 of the large hollies in Mossy Meadow. But I want these to stand up a little bit. So take the palm of your hand, and you could use, you know, something else if you wanted. But I find this just really easy. I've stuck my thumb in the center. And I'm just closing my hand. And sometimes you need to, especially when you got multiple layers in the embossing, you have to push on a little harder. But I find this is to be the easiest way to get some dimension and some curvature to your flowers to go on boxes. There's other ways too, but this is working for me quite well. Just like that. And we're going to pull these 3 over, and we're going to get some dimensionals. And we're going to put a dimensional on each one of these. Dimensionals and glimmer paper work really good together. The glue dots work good. Tape or glue does work, but you have to hold it. But these I wanted to pop up. So what I want to do is I'm looking at this like this is my front. And so I'm thinking I want them to go about like this. I'm not pushing down on them yet. So I can rearrange them a little bit. I think about like that. So I'm gonna take my hand here and put it underneath each of them so I can press down on it. Don't press down right here too hard because there's nothing underneath of it. Put your hand there and then press down, which they're raised up quite nicely. And then these I decided to place around. And I am using glue on these. Actually, I'm gonna use glue dots. I don't want to sit and hold it. Glue dots work really easily. So we've got these three here. So it doesn't take long to put a few glue dots on. And you should only need about two. And I'm going to put one here. And I'm just tucking them sort of underneath there. You can also do it this way. Take your project to it. But I've never had much luck for that way. I watch other people do. I have better luck taking the glue dot to my project. Tuck this one. I'm tucking the stems, so the stems are going back underneath the poinsettia here, so you don't really see the stem. And if they ball up like that one just did, it doesn't really matter because you're pressing it into that glitter. And about like that. And then these three. But you could come up with your own top, your own design for yours. And one more here. We're just about ready to finish this box. So I'm going to come in here and put them out this direction. And one out from this one. One out this way. So that's the box. And you can decide, you know, whichever ways you want front. It doesn't matter. So let's bring this in now. This is all nice and secure now. This is the front of my box, okay, with my writing on it. So I'm going to now fold this up. And the first couple times you fold it, it may be a little touchy, but it folds up like that. Let me do that one more time. Just fold it up like that. So you got what, 2, 4, 6 layers of paper there, plus DSP. It's quite thick. And then you just fold this one in. And after a while, it will just fold in there. But this hasn't been folded that many times, so it's a little stiff. Back to keeping track of and how I'm telling where my front is. This is the only one that has, if you can see in there, it's got the writing on it. So that's my front. And this is the front of the box I decided. So it goes over there like that. And the rest, it just, what's there expands out and holds that on. It's not a secure lid. It's just a nice lid. Because it will vary depending on what you put in there and how much pressure is putting into the box. So if you have a lot of stuff in there, it'll hold really well because there's a lot of pressure. And mine does not have a lot of pressure. So I made this cute little organza ribbon here. We're back to glue dots because, like I said, glue dots and this glimmer paper really get along well. And I'm going to put 2 glue dots on here, so I want to make sure it really sticks and doesn't fall off. And try to place that right, get that in there a little bit, right in the middle of my box, like that. And then I want to take 2 other glue dots. So I want this to poof up a little bit. I'm putting one here. You see where I'm getting this? I'm hooking it underneath the one piece here, so this gets some motion here. And then this one I'm going to pull down a little bit. I'm going to put one about there. And put that out. Just trying to get this so this gets a little bigger bow on it, like that. And that is my explosion box. So here's the first one. Like I said, they don't look identical, but they're very similar. So anyhow, thank you for joining me. I know it's long, it's almost an hour long. Very unusual for me. I try to keep them less than 40 minutes, but sometimes you want to do a big project like this, and it does take a little bit longer to do. So thank you all for joining me this week. Have a wonderful weekend. And we will meet again on Monday. And like I said, if you live in the Portland, Vancouver area, that's Vancouver, Washington, Portland, Oregon, send me an email and let me know so I can get you on a mailing list so you can know about upcoming events that we're going to have locally here in the area. Myself and another demonstrator are going together to do a couple things, and we want more people to come to it, but we don't want to advertise it on the YouTube as to the address and stuff. So if you're interested, please send me an email, and I'd love to hear from you. With that being said, everybody have a wonderful weekend, and the kittens finally fell asleep. We'll try to let them sleep for a while. So have a nice weekend, everybody, and I'll see you on Monday. Goodbye.